Quite often I get asked this question, Michael, why did you start TriVita? Well, the short answer is so that you and others may experience greater wellness. But if you would allow me, I would like to take a few minutes to tell you the other version of my story. See, I remember a number of years ago when we were driving down the driveway with our special guests, James and Betty Robison. And we'd been discussing with them about starting the wellness company. And James turned to me and he said, Michael, are you sure that you want to start another company? You've had so much success with Ellison Media Company. You have helped our ministry and the humanitarian efforts. And they're major, like millions of people have been saved from starvation throughout Africa as a result of their organization. I began to think of other organizations that we had worked with, such as Dr. D. Jane Kennedy when he brought forward his television ministry, which was a conservative voice across America. I remember helping Kenneth Copeland launch radio and television, working with Pat Robertson when he ran for President of the United States, and just some great experiences that we had. But as I'm thinking about these past experiences, it didn't quench the compelling urge that I felt in my heart and just passion about starting this wellness company. And I turned to James and I remember saying, James, I don't know why, except for I feel compelled to start this wellness company. I want people to experience wellness like what happened in my life. I've always loved the feeling of being fit, and running has been a primary way for me to enjoy fitness. I remember when I just turned 50. And being kind of a performance guy, I decided that I was going to take one of my favorite runs, which was up Troon Mountain, and push it a little bit harder than normal. And I love that mountain because it also stands alongside of Pinnacle Peak, and there's a fabulous trail on Pinnacle Peak, and that's kind of a world-renowned mountain. And so I'm about 2 miles from home. And I'm pushing it pretty hard, and all of a sudden, down the left side of my side and arm, I get this tingling, numbing sensation, and then it turns into pain on the left side of my chest area, and it starts going down my side, and it's like, oh no, this could be the big one. Now, the reason why the oh no is because in my family, the history had not been good. My grandfather, who I never had the opportunity or joy of meeting, was 41 years of age. He was with his buddies in the mountains, and he told a joke, and he threw back his head in laughter and dropped over dead from a heart attack. My father went in at 38 years of age to have just an annual physical, and the announcement to him was, you need to have a quadruple bypass, and if you don't, you will be dead within 6 months. So that feeling of, heart and heart health issues and even death had kind of haunted our family, and probably why I was always trying to be fit. And I did have a strong heart, still do have a strong heart, but on that day, I felt like that I literally was dying. So I sat down on the trail, I'm sitting there thinking I'm dying, and all these thoughts start flashing as far as, through my mind. What about my wife? What about my family? What about all my friends, my business on a worldwide basis? No, I can't be. Well, as these thoughts are flashing through my mind, I also realize I'm alive. I'm not dreaming this, I'm alive. I sat there, maybe 15 minutes, and I gathered myself, and I walked home that day. And of course, I looked for medical help, and I checked into Mayo Clinic. So now I'm in Mayo Clinic, and they begin their test. Well, obviously, the first place for them to start on the testing was my heart, due to the family history, due to the pain on the left side. And so they did all of the tests related to my heart, and my heart was strong and I was good. And that was great news to me. But it didn't alleviate the pain and the intensity of what I was feeling in my body. They continued on with tests, and now this starts happening over a period of weeks because I was sound as far as with my heart. I'm alive, and what was going on with me, though, is the continuation of this inflammation and this fire that is happening now is spreading over my body, and now my body is starting to feel jittery, and I have the jolts that go through me. It was very debilitating at that time of my life. I didn't feel like a good spouse. I didn't feel like a good father. I didn't feel like I was a good business associate. So all this is also happening simultaneously. Well, when they did the lifestyle study on me, that's when they came to the conclusion of sleep deprivation, and it led them to the nervous system, and from the nervous system, what's going on with the adrenals. Putting it in street language, when the doctors looked at this, my medical team came to me and they said, Michael, they said, you have spent 30 years basically with adrenaline pumping on your nervous system that whole time. And according to your lifestyle study, you haven't slept that much. And I really didn't. I mean, I quite frankly didn't like to sleep. I felt like it was a waste of my time because I love life. I love what I was doing. I love what I was purposed to do. And the less I slept, I thought I was enjoying the things that I love to do more. And I could get on a plane, fly to my office in Australia, and fly all night and get down there and go to work and not sleep on the plane. But all this now came crashing down because my body is now like this. Well, when they sat down with me, my medical team, they said, Michael, you're not going to have any quality of life if you do not change the way you think about health and life. We want you to give up your business. We want you, I didn't mean sell it, just give up my responsibilities of my business. We want you to go to your ranch, and we want you to get out of any stimulation environment and for you to be there until you recover. Now, that isn't just months. That's probably years before you fully recover. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, because they also went on to say, Michael, there's not really anything that we can do for you. We can give you prescriptions that will mask your pain and maybe calm your jitters down. But as far as recovery, that's only going to be within yourself and your body healing over time. When they said that, I have to admit, it was one of the bleakest days in my life. No help from my medical team. It was like this dark, ominous cloud came over me, and it was like, what am I going to do with my life? I certainly didn't enjoy the results I was having, so I knew I had to change the way I thought about health and about life. And so as I left Mayo Clinic, I felt like I needed to go to my home office, because it was there that I would find some time alone and a time to talk to God. So as I came home, I knew I didn't really want to talk to my wife about the diagnosis and the announcement that I heard at Mayo Clinic. I wanted to go straight to my office, which I did. It wasn't a time when I felt like getting on my knees. It was a time when I felt like lying on the floor face down. I felt so helpless. I felt lonely. I felt fearful. All those feelings were going through me because they said they couldn't help me. I didn't know where to turn for help for myself. I didn't have the knowledge, the understanding. And so I prayed. I asked God for help. Well, probably at that time, what I was looking for is the shortcut, like God coming into the room and say, "You're restored, you're ready to go." Well, that didn't happen. It felt like the prayers were kind of ping-ponging off of the walls and ceiling. But I do remember this. I remember getting off of the floor in that state of feeling a little bit desperate, the ominous cloud over me. And then I sat on the chair and I just grabbed my arm and I said, "Okay, you are his temple. I am going to learn to provide the nourishment and the nurturing that you need for wellness. I am on my wellness journey." And that is what happened on that day. I started on a wellness journey. Now, I had this, idea of wellness that was totally foreign to me. It was like something I had to discover. I knew fitness, because I had been in the gym and I had run for years. I knew that side of it, but now we're talking about wellness. I was on my wellness journey. So now I'm on my wellness journey. I'm looking for the essentials of wellness. Well, the first one I needed to deal with, and I certainly knew from what they said at Mayo Clinic, was sleep. Sleep was an essential of wellness. It gives the body an opportunity to restore and to revitalize. And so now, a guy who was pretty comfortable in sleeping in short periods of time each night, like 2 or 3 hours, and many times more than what I want to admit, no sleep at night. So now I'm going to learn to sleep. So obviously, you can find out, get rid of the lights and pull the drapes and make sure that there's nothing that would be there to, interfere with sleep. I did those things. Then it was like, okay, can I count 100 backwards? And my fearfulness was, what if I started 100 and I end up at 1 and I'm still awake? All those things really didn't help me learn to be a sleeper. So one day, and I'm kind of a noodler. I like to noodle on yellow pads and write thoughts, and I'm a journaler of my life and things that are important to me. And so I start writing this little prayer. So, sleep, you are my friend. And that was a big statement for me because up until that time, sleep, you are a waste of time, except for when I'm exhausted and I need you. No, sleep, you are my friend. I invite you into my life to heal and restore. Thank you, God, for sending sleep to my life. Wow. 2 to 3 weeks later, this boy was sleeping. And I've embraced sleep ever since. So that was just like a profound thing that happened to me. I can now say I am a sleeper. Well, another thing that happened, I now am looking for other essentials. I happened to be talking to a naturopath. I was talking to anybody and everybody who was a health professional, a spiritual leader, anybody who would listen. Do you know anything about wellness essentials? What do you think are wellness essentials in this journey that I'm on, right? So I'm talking with this naturopathic doctor, and we get to speaking about essentials, and he says, have you tried deep breathing? It'll calm your body. It'll bring your blood pressure down, and I've done it many times in which I put on the cuff and I do deep breathing. I just watch the numbers come down and get into balance, and it's like, wow, that is a really profound experience. And see, that's something that was important to me. I knew that it had to be simple, or I couldn't do it on a daily basis, and I knew it had to have profound results, because if it didn't, I'd probably give up. So simple but profound was really important in regard to these wellness essentials. Just a little insert here. I tried Rolfing, and because I was still in pain, that acute pain was going on. I was still jittery and jolting, and so I was trying to deal with pain while I'm on this wellness journey looking for essentials. I'm also trying to deal with the pain that I'm experiencing. And I tried Rolfing. It's a great experience, except for the pain that you experience is greater than the pain you have. And when you get out of there, you're just glad and happy that and relieved that the session is over. But that was a treatment. That wasn't really an essential. And so now I'm in deep breathing. Deep breathing is simply to breathe in through your mouth, all the way in, fill it up, clear down into your gut area, and then just let it out through your nose. And when you do that over and over and over for several minutes, you'll feel the calming effect. Well, here's what was incredible to me. I was able also to do that at night. So when I woke up, I would go into deep breathing, and that would calm my body, put me back into sleep. I was on a wellness journey, and I was so excited because I had 2 essentials of wellness, and I knew that this was going to make a huge difference in my life. So the next part of the journey was dealing more with wellness than it was with, the sleep and the pain side of it. It was the emotional side of it. I'm a human being. You are a human being. We have emotions. Well, in a discussion that I had with another leader, and actually with a healthcare professional that I admired and respected, talked to me about the importance of forgiving oneself for health and healing and wellness. Now, being a person who, had spiritual understanding, I knew what it was to pray to God for forgiveness. What I didn't know is how to ask for forgiveness for myself, because I carried a lot of guilt. I knew that the lifestyle that I had chosen to live and the choices that I had made were contributing to this experience that I had on the trail, as well as the now unhealthy life that I was living, a debilitating life, a diminishing life. I took responsibility for it. So that kind of was like, additional guilt baggage that certainly was not contributing into my wellness. So I went into I am going to forgive myself, and I am going to ask forgiveness of everyone that I can think of that I have ever offended. And when I say ever, I'm talking about years. So I started writing letters, and I wrote letters. Now, today you'd probably put it in an email, but back then I wrote letters. And I looked up the addresses of those people, and I sent letters saying, would you forgive me for this, what I think I offended you? Now, I'm sure some people couldn't even remember and wondered why I ever wrote the letter, but it wasn't so much about them. It was about me. I needed to ask for forgiveness, and I needed to be forgiven. When that was done, and when I apologized to my wife, to my family, and I came to that point of saying, I've asked for forgiveness from everyone that I know of, and certainly I asked forgiveness from God, I just felt another whole new sense of wellness entering my life as a result of forgiveness. I was on a wellness journey, and I continued to search for wellness and the essentials of wellness and my life became filled with joy and happiness. So now I'm experiencing wellness, and the essentials of wellness that I'm applying to my life is making such a difference that naturally I want to tell anyone and everyone who will listen about these essentials. And as I'm doing this, people are saying, well, you ought to write a book. I didn't really consider myself to be an author, but I did want people to experience wellness. And so the more I thought about it, was like, well, what else could I do? And I began to think about a company. What if I could start a wellness company where I could have physicians, where I could have dietitians, where I could have people who are believers in wellness and sharing the wellness essentials with others? Then I began to experience, like visions of thousands of people experiencing wellness and them sharing their wellness experience with others. So after months of contemplating about this, I knew I had to talk to my family. Well, first of all, it was my wife. I went to Susan and I said, dear, we both have so benefited in our lives, and we are just enjoying the simple but profound essentials of wellness, and it's made a huge difference in our lives. What if we start a company and that we share these essentials and also have dietary supplements? And what if we opened up a clinic? And the more we talked, the more we began to dream of this occurring. We knew it was a big commitment. We knew it may involve all of our life savings. You never start a company without realizing it's a huge commitment as far as on those who are in that first concept and making that a reality. Well, the next thing we did is we went to our sons and we said to them, in consideration, because obviously we had a certain amount of wealth and there was an inheritance factor that was coming to them. Now, I plan on living a long time, so it'll be a long time before you're getting your inheritance, but we want to be considerate. Would you join us in your enthusiasm, your faith, your belief, and your effort, and let's start a company. A company that would address physical, emotional, and spiritual health. Well, the family came together as a unit, a power of agreement. We're going to do this. When we thought about it, it's like, okay, it's physical, it's emotional, it's spiritual. 3. How about tri? 3, Vita, life. And that's where the name TriVita came from. It was about our commitment and the discovery of the essentials of wellness in physical, emotional, and spiritual that brought us to the name of TriVita. It's exciting to see what's happening at TriVita. Wellness is such a beautiful thing, a beautiful feeling. It's a feeling of like balance, well-being. It's like the womb effect, secure, comfortable. When I think of wellness, I think of it this way. If I may define it for you, I think of wellness as having the energy and the vitality to do the things that we love and that we need to do, and to daily live with positive emotions of love and gratitude, forgiveness, acceptance, and to feel connected to God. Develop that relationship with God. Talk with God. And that you would feel connected to His purpose and His purpose for your life. When we experience that kind of wellness, in my opinion, I think it's the most optimal way of living day to day. It's having the energy and the vitality and the positive emotions. It's not about fear and all the baggage of guilt. No, it's the positive emotions. It's feeling each day that there's purpose for the day and that our life matters. That to me is wellness. and I invite you to experience that wellness with me. Well, much growth has occurred since we first launched TriVita, and now it includes also the TriVita Clinic of Integrative Medicine. When we started the company, we had visions of thousands of people, experiencing wellness like what we've experienced, and it's happening. Each day, people are calling, talking with our wellness consultants, taking the assessments. They're also taking dietary supplements, that targeted nutrition that supports our body systems, like our brain, like our cardiovascular, musculoskeletal. There's a lot of benefit when you take your diet and targeted nutrition to begin to support your body systems. At the clinic, wonderful things are happening at the clinic. We have fabulous providers that are there to help our patients. See, at the clinic, we have this belief that you have amazing power to heal. You can actually, if you get cut, look at your body and it'll start showing up as a red spot around wherever that cut may be, and your body is healing. Well, that can happen all the way through your entire system when given the right nutrients and the right nurturing. So we invite you to participate in your wellness journey with the mindset that you are designed to heal. Your Creator created you in that way. Many times we have a tendency to accept a way of thinking that, well, I'm a cancer patient, or I'm a heart patient, or I'm a diabetic, and we just kind of hang on to that. I invite you to recognize that, but also to recognize the incredible opportunity that you have, that when you have the right nutrients, the right nurturing, that you can live above these modifiable diseases. That's what TriVita is about, not living above disease. It's about living with optimal wellness. People who have joined together, I call them wellness seekers. We have a wellness community, and we invite you to join our community to experience optimal wellness. Wellness that will support your wellness for purpose of your life. Maybe you have a story that you would like to share with me, as I have shared this story with you. I'd love to hear your story, and you may simply email me at ceo@trivita.com. A story maybe that is not from adversity to wellness. Maybe it's just wellness for purpose and what you're excited about and passionate about in your life and the legacy that you're leaving with your story. Thank you for letting me take this time with you to share the story of TriVita and why TriVita. We look forward to the future, a future in which many more join with us in living with wellness.